Well, is now in theaters, and it is the latest A24 film, and this time it is coming from Lula Wang. And this is actually kind of an autobiography. It's based on an actual lie. The premise is simple. Awkwafina plays a character who goes back to China because she finds out that her grandmother is dying. But the thing is, in that culture, they don't want the grandmother to know. They don't want her to know that she is dying. It's their burden to carry. And so essentially the film is about Awkwafina trying to come to terms with the fact that they can't do that, because most of her time she's lived in America, so she isn't really fully accustomed to these customs that you have to essentially lie to your grandmother that she's dying. So this film, I was very interested, not only because it's an A24 film, but the premise interested me, and also it's the first A24 film that was PG. So there was a lot kind of running on this movie, and I loved it. I actually really, really dug this movie. I think that it is a movie that you can watch with the family because it's a film that, for those of us that don't live in China, and us Americans sometimes are kind of ignorant to things. I personally am one of them. I did not know that this was how things are in China. I did not know it was the type of thing where, you lie to your elders if they're dying. I didn't know that. And it's fascinating. And I like how the film kind of actually shows their mindset on why they think this way. And that's the thing. This film does a good job with perspective of the characters. Like, you really do get the sense of East versus West mentality, but it's done in a way that is very mature and not like, oh, we're better than, this country. Like, it's none of that. And that's one of the things that was really refreshing. Also, Awkwafina, I'm talking about the characters, but Awkwafina nailed it. The lead role of Billy, she was great in it. And I'm not a big fan of Awkwafina. I didn't like her in Ocean's 8 and Crazy Rich Asians. I was like, I didn't like that movie that much. So I was like, okay, she's that comedic person that just comes in and, tries to say a couple quippy things and it usually falls flat, at least for me personally. But with this film, The Farewell, she actually is very serious and she has a lot of depth that she brings to her character. And I loved it. I also think that this film has a neat score. Like, the score is probably only about 15 minutes of the 100-minute runtime, but it's very effective. I think it really does evoke emotions and almost this existential feel that the film kind of provokes, especially towards the end. And the attention to detail of this film is also crazy good. And you get to see it all in beautiful, beautiful, beautiful cinematography. Like, sometimes it's very dreary, but it's done with wide-angle shots, so you get to fully encapsulate these long takes. It's awesome. I love it. And not only that, I think what's even better about this film is that it is so mature in terms of culture. I mean, Crazy Rich Asians came out last year, and again, I wasn't the biggest fan of it because, for those who don't know, I looked at that movie as, hey, look, we can make, basic movies that are like comedies just like Americans. And The Farewell, it is comedic at times, but it also balances comedy and drama very well. But more importantly, it doesn't feel forced. It feels so natural that it's an all Asian cast. And I loved it. It didn't feel forced at all. And Lula Wang, her vision is just fully realized. Like, there isn't a scene in this movie that didn't feel true. It felt all earned and it felt so natural and organic. I loved it. As far as negatives go, because as you guys can tell, I really dug this movie. As far as the negatives go, I do think that towards the end, there were a couple times towards the end where I was like, you could have ended it here, but instead there were a couple more minutes. And at the same time, though, my problem is also something that I can look past because the last couple minutes I also was fine with, but at the same time, I was like, okay, it kind of ruins the flow of the movie. And I get what they were going for the last couple minutes. I do. And I even said it after the theater experience. I was like, maybe it's the type of thing where after I'm done watching it, I rewatch it, I can appreciate it even more, and then I give it an even higher rating. But for now, it's just a little nitpick, but it's enough to where it's not a perfect movie for me. But nonetheless, The Farewell, it's a very cultural, relevant movie. It's very insightful. It's smart. And as I said in my Letterboxd review, it's what Crazy Rich Asians should have been. And that's why The Farewell, I'll personally be giving it a 4.5 out of 5-star rating, which, for those like a hot sauce rating, it's the good old Tabasco rating. Check this movie out. It's playing right now. It's in limited release, but definitely check it out. It's definitely a movie that you can watch with your family because it is pretty squeaky clean, but it balances comedy and drama very well, and at the same time, you get a healthy dosage of cultural wokeness, so to speak. So, guys, that's my thoughts on The Farewell. Let me know your thoughts on The Farewell. Comment section down below. And as always, don't forget the subscription, notification bell, and I'll catch you guys later.